We, as the Minecraft community, have found several unique, interesting, and fun types of seeds over the years, with wacky and interesting generations that really probably shouldn't have happened. But considering how there's 18 quintillion different types of seeds that are possible inside the game, it is likely that we're gonna find like some types of weird generation every now and then, but there's one seed in particular which is theoretically possible, but so improbably unlikely that it's nearly impossible to find. So impossible that I'm actually going to need your help in finding it. The original idea for this seed came up during an IBX Toycat podcast where he was talking with a seed finder who was really good at finding some really rare seeds. And during their conversation, they brought up this concept of a seed.
What is a seed that hasn't been found that you'd be like incredibly impressed if it had been? Seemingly impossible, but would be useful.
Great one would be the Pillager outposts. What I've discovered accidentally is they don't actually just build those towers down. They copy the blocks. You notice how, like, when there's one of those towers, if one of them has a vine on it, all the way down it has the vine. Is if I could get a spawner right at that layer, it could have an entire line.
Unlike other structures inside the game, Pillager outposts generate downward in the sense of, instead of it generating block for block, it actually generates layer by layer, meaning whatever is right next to it will actually be generated all the way down with it. Meaning if we were lucky enough to have a monster spawner generating right next to it, that means that we can have chains of monster spawners generating in incredibly low down right on top of each other. But for something like this to happen, there's a lot of hurdles we're going to have to go over. The most obvious one being the fact that monster spawners generate only underground, and very deep underground in most cases. So for this monster spawner chain to happen, we would need to have to find a monster spawner right on the surface of the world, or right next to a hill or a mountain or something like that, which is definitely possible, but improbable when we're considering the odds of having to find a pillager outpost right next to it too. Which means there's only really one place we can reliably find monster spawners on the surface of a world. And that's of course inside the mine shafts of the Mesa Badlands biome. These mine shafts can often generate very high up, whether it be inside of Mesa Badlands mountains or right on the surface themselves. And included inside of that generation is obviously the cave spider spawners we can see right here. Meaning if we find an outpost inside of the Mesa Badlands right on top of one of these mine shafts, and we could happen to find the chain of spawners. But there's another problem with this, and that's the fact that pillager outposts can't generate inside of Mesa Badlands. At least from the hundreds upon hundreds of seeds I checked, pillager outposts will almost never generate inside of Mesa Badlands, meaning it's probably because it's actually locked from generating inside this biome. Either that or it's incredibly rare, but for whatever reason, pillager outposts are almost never found inside of Mesa Badlands. But you can find them in neighboring biomes around Mesa Badlands. Like this one. This one managed to generate inside of a desert biome, meaning there is that possible chance of it generating literally right on the border of a Mesa Badlands, meaning there is still a chance for this to happen. The only other problem with this is the fact that we are then going to have that mine shaft actually generating in so close to the edge it actually spews over into the desert. Which again is possible, but very rare to find something like that. I have seen that here and there around the place, but it is incredibly rare. But that is still a possible way on getting a mob spawner generating in right underneath of an outpost. But then there's another problem with that, and that's the fact that the way these things actually work is they copy the layers over and over again until they reach solid blocks. And the cave spider spawners often generate on the ground inside of tunnels or inside of something like that. So the only other way we could think about actually doing this is finding one that glitched out, generated over a big open gap inside of a cave, with the pillager outpost on top of it, with it allowing itself to generate in as low as it physically can, which will then and only then allow us to have a huge chain of monster spawners. Is this seed possible? Maybe. Is it probable? No. But there is still that greater than 0% chance of a seed like this existing somewhere inside of these 18 quintillion seeds we have. But I, on my own, can't find it, no matter how hard I try, which is why I am going to need your help. I'm going to need your help in searching for seeds with the exact same generation stuff I explained inside this video. A pillager outpost bordering a Mesa Badlands with a mine shaft that generates across into that bordering biome with a huge cave opening underneath it, with that outpost generating right on top of a spawner so it can have these huge chains of spawners. It's gonna be hard, maybe even impossible, but I still think there's a chance we could do this. If you're lucky enough to find that seed, please let me or any seed finders know, because we would love finding and showing off this seed for the entire community to mess around with, and to benefit with who knows how many spawners stacked right on top of each other. But yeah, for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.